Hey everybody, it's Phil Boyle of the Big Geek with Geek Omelet. Happy New Year. It's been a few weeks since I made a video, but hey, I'm back. And I want to talk to you about an interesting microphone that I found that has gone from, hey, I think it sounds good on my voice. Hey, I think it sounds good on your voice. Hey, it's an interesting microphone to it is a friggin' amazing deal. Therefore, it's elevated. And what I'm talking about is this microphone I'm talking on right now. This is a microphone made by American Audio. That's right, the American Audio VPS 80. This is a handheld live performance microphone. And you're saying, so what, Phil? There are a lot of handheld microphones out there. And there are, but here's what's interesting, and this is why I'm talking to you about it right now. This microphone, well, let's take a look at the specs on it to begin with, and they're right there up front. It is a super cardioid. What that means is a quick reminder for anybody who is unclear on what that provides you. Think about it, it's the polar pattern, right? So think of it like this. This is a cardioid polar pattern right here. Comfort my whole face, right? So it's going to pick up things that are going on in front of the microphone. It's going to pick up a little bit off to the side of the microphone, but not quite. That's cardioid, right? You have wide cardioid, which opens that up a little bit more. Then you've got patterns like super cardioid, which tighten that pattern down and focus the front of the microphone. And then the most tight in the cardioids is hypercardioid, right? This is a super cardioid. The more you tighten up that polar pattern, the more sensitive the microphone is to picking up sound coming directly behind the capsule, from the back of the microphone, if you will, where the XLR is plugged in to the microphone. So what I'm talking about is, as you tighten that polar pattern, sounds that are back here on the microphone, like if you have a monitor or you have an audience, things like that, depending on how sensitive the microphone is, they can be picked up here. But what's great about a supercardioid pattern is that you have less issues with the microphone being sensitive to noise to the left, to the right, to the sides of the microphone. So if you're performing live or you're just playing with other people that are to the left and the right of you, there's less likely that it's going to be sensitive enough to pick them up. So the VPS 80 is a microphone that, according to American Audio, when it came out, and the company is called ADJ, when this microphone came out, the company said that this was meant to be a competitor for the Shure microphone. They wanted to, take on Shure and be a big competitor, but I don't think that they were remarkably successful. The other thing is that this microphone, there's a good chance it's not produced by American Audio. And there is evidence to support the idea that this microphone is actually purchased from a microphone supplier in Taiwan, a company that actually makes microphones under the brand name Carol. And this was suggested by one of our viewers, Christopher, who contacted Clay Allen, who I do a bi-weekly on YouTube show, and said to him, hey man, this looks really a lot like a Carol microphone that's out there. And if you go to Amazon and you take a look and you pull up the Carol Sigma 1 or Sigma Dash Plus 1, you get a microphone that, other than the fact that it has a switch on it, looks nearly identical to this microphone. Now, is that a bad thing? No, because that microphone's selling right now for $60.50, although there is a coupon down to $48. That alone is exciting with the way that this microphone sounds, because here's the thing about this microphone. Out of the box, it sounds to me the way I often will tune my SM58 to sound more neutral on my voice, right? To drop a little bit of that bottom end, which can tend to make it sound muddy when you're talking. This microphone out of the box sounds like it's tuned. And in fact, what you're listening to right now is no processing, no compression, no EQ. This is what this microphone sounds out. It sounds like out of the box on my Focusrite Vocaster 2 with 70 dB of clean gain. But what's most exciting about this is that the microphone that I'm talking to you on right now is currently on sale for $24.57 on Amazon. $24.57. That's new. That is not Amazon resale or what they used to call Amazon warehouse. This is new, $24.57. My God. So this microphone's got some exciting technology on it. Let's take a closer look at the box. Most important, other than the polar pattern, which is, as I said earlier, supercardioid, so it's a very tight polar pattern, not the tightest, but tight. It also uses a neodymium magnet. Neodymium magnets tend to be a step-up feature on microphones. For example, in Shure microphones, if you want a neodymium magnet, you have to step up to a more expensive microphone. This is a $24 microphone that has a neodymium magnet. So what does that do for you? Well, basically, it makes the microphone more sensitive. And when you're talking about a dynamic microphone, these microphones tend to be power hungry as it is. So increasing the sensitivity of the microphone means that you can do more. So if you're using an interface, now I've got like 70 dB of clean gain, but it's nice to not have to crank up the gain to drive a microphone like when I drive my Shure microphones, right? So the neodymium magnet on this actually improves the sensitivity of the microphone. Like I said, it sounds to me the way I tune my SM58 when I'm trying to get it to make my voice sound the way I want it to sound. Now, one of the reasons that I like buying things on Amazon is you're going to need to test it out. So try the microphone out on your voice and see if you also find it pleasant. This microphone, let's take a look at a little bit of the specs. So the frequency response is 50 hertz to 18 kilohertz. For example, the Shure SM7B is 50 hertz to 16 kilohertz. So this particular microphone actually goes up a little bit in the high frequencies, which I think is nice. If you think that maybe you're particularly sibilant in your voice and you don't want those high frequencies, well, by all means, that's what EQ is there for. That's what compression is there for. That's what sound processing is for. But you've got it here, whereas you're not cranking it up trying to drive something out of a microphone that isn't there natively from the factory. So similar specifications, but completely different real world sound. Like I said, supercardioid and a neodymium magnet. This is by all means a step-up microphone. And at $24.57, a microphone that comes, now the mic's not in the box, but you know, a microphone that comes with, a bag, a cable, and it is an XLR to XLR cable, and a mic clip, really at $24.57, it's a really good deal. This is a microphone that you'd want to have in your kit. As I was saying to Clay the other day, you know, when I used to play live, my Shure SM58 was the go-to microphone. But you know what? I'd put this microphone in my kit. It would go in my guitar case. And so if I were doing any live gigs, this microphone would go. I think it's got an amazingly sweet sound. It's an incredibly well-built microphone. It sounds good on my voice. And at $25, which is what we're talking about here, my God, it's an incredible deal. I don't understand why this microphone did not take off. Maybe the idea that it was built or made by Carol. Carol certainly, I guess they don't have the same reputation that Shure does. And, you know, there's something nice about buying a microphone from a brand that says American Audio. Although, you know, if this is built by Carol, certainly the body is identical. And I'll throw up some slides. They look identical with the exception of the on and off switch. But it's a great sounding microphone. It's a great feeling microphone. It's got amazing specs on it. It sounds great on my voice. It's one of my new favorite dynamic microphones, And I highly recommend you get 1 or 2 of these in your kit. Frankly, if you're thinking about starting a podcast and you're going to be using an XLR interface, at $25, I'd have a mess of these things in my kit. If you're going to do a 4-person podcast, this would be great because it is going to reject with that supercardioid polar pattern. It's going to reject the sound that's coming from the other speakers that may be sitting next to you or around a table in your podcast. All right, so let's do a little bit of testing. I'm gonna take it out. Here we go. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is a little handling noise. Now I'm gonna stop talking and I'm going to pass the mic back and forth in my hands. Now, you don't normally do this, but I want to try and accentuate. Honestly, I think my SM58 has worse handling noise than this. This is actually quite impressive. All right, so this is me talking directly into the microphone, and now I'm 90 degrees on the right-hand side of the microphone. I am directly behind the microphone, 180 degrees. I'm back 90 degrees onto the right side of the microphone, and I'm back on the front of the microphone. Now I'm on the left side of the microphone. Once again, I am on the rear of the microphone, and I am on the right side of the microphone, and now I'm back on the front of the microphone. This microphone does tend to get a little plosive heavy. This is a microphone that could benefit by some mic technique. So what you want to do is you get it pointed at your mouth hole, but get it off a little bit so you're blowing those plosives past it. But if you're talking directly into it, Paul and Pauline were playing Parcheesi on the porch while eating pizza with pineapple on it, and they promptly puked. I'm actually joking. I like pizza with pineapple on it. There's nothing like that. Savory and sweet. But look, if you're going to be talking into this microphone, it's very sensitive. So what do you want to do? You want to get the microphone off a little bit to the left or right of your mouth, and you want to be talking past it. All right, so that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about here. This is the American Audio VPS 80 dynamic microphone with a neodymium magnet. It's highly sensitive. It's supercardioid, not standard cardioid, so it's got a nice tight polar pattern, but not as tight as hypercardioid, so it's not quite as sensitive to sounds from the rear, which is great. This microphone is likely made by a Taiwanese company called Carol that sells the equivalent to it with a switch for $60, although you can get it with a coupon for $48 on Amazon. But this particular one can be purchased for $24.97 on Amazon, brand new. That's not an Amazon resale or what they used to call Amazon warehouse. So for you, if you're looking for a dynamic microphone that sounds like the way I tune my Shure SM58 to sound as good as possible on my voice, out of the box, I like this microphone. I like it a lot, and I highly recommend it. All right, that's the American Audio VPS 80 dynamic supercardioid microphone, available now for $24.97 on Amazon. Now look, if you got some value out of this, if you liked this video, if you were like, wow, Phil, thanks for turning me onto that microphone, then do me a favor. Please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment down below. Engaging with me in the comments actually makes the YouTube algorithm happy. And you want to make the algorithm happy. It's incredibly important. All right, that's it. This is Phil with Geek Omelet. Thanks for watching. Go out and create something.